All right, how's everyone doing today? Here we're going to go and we have two lessons this week. Uh, we are basically in review mode, and these two lessons I think are incredibly uh, important to review as we're ending up this year. If there's anything you guys can kind of take away from the seventh grade year, we covered, obviously, we went through a lot of integer rules. You guys need to know that as you're heading into eighth grade and algebra, things like that. Those rules are very important. And then last week we focused on combining like terms and what we do when we see expressions like those. And today, this week, we are going to be focusing primarily on one step and basically as review, and then two-step equations. In the process, the steps, the thinking that goes into solving those types of equations. So if we can, we're going to do a review with those this week. And we are almost done, guys. We're heading into basically the last part of this quarter. And so I hope that we can use our time wisely, get as many of these lessons completed. You can make up these lessons and redo them as many times as you would like until the end of the quarter. Just give me an email, send me a message, like a lot of you guys have been doing. When you do maybe make a correction or you do redo a lesson, and let me know that the grade has changed, so I can go back and read and look at those again, because it does take some time sifting through all of those different grades as I'm putting them into the grade book. Khan Academy, for whatever reason, has not figured out an easy way to just give me a detailed list. So everything needs to be kind of looked over meticulously, and hopefully I don't make any mistakes as I'm looking at those numbers. And if I do, please let me know. I'll be happy to make any of those types of corrections. So let's go into one-step multiplication and division problems here. As we're going into this, you guys should have a basic familiarity with this. This is one step. You guys did this in sixth grade. We are going to be looking at a lot of problems that are set up like this. You're going to see a variable. Variable is that letter, that K in this equation here. And whenever you see something set up like this, it's a fraction. Okay. When I see that, I should right away. Basically, I could rewrite this out like 1 over 1.5. All right. 1.5 K. Okay. That is the same way of writing it out this way. Whenever there's nothing in front of that K, like there is here, we can assume there's a 1. And so if I just rewrite it as 1 over 1.5K, a lot of us are more familiar with seeing our work shown this way than this way over here, and equals 3, because we should remember, and in case you don't, that's okay. We're going to go over that now. When you see a fraction, that is our coefficient. Our coefficient meaning it is right next to the variable here, okay? The number next to the variable is our coefficient. When you see a fraction like that, you know you need to isolate this variable. We want this thing right here all by itself. And so the only way we can do that is by moving this term, this coefficient. The only way to move coefficients, especially the only way to move them as a fraction, is if we flip the fraction and then multiply it on the other side. So we're going to multiply this with the flip. All right, this needs to go to the top, and then this needs to go to the bottom. That's how we flip it. And when I flip it, I need to basically multiply it. This is a multiplication symbol. Okay, multiply it, and now the 1.5 is on top. And you don't have to, but you can put the 1 down here. All right, then I would go ahead and multiply that out. And with these problems, you can use a calculator, okay? So if I would do 3 times 1.5, you are going to get 4.5. Whoops. And that's all you have to do. Remember, these are one step. So all you have to do is make one step on these, and then you solve it, and you're done. Here again, I have j over 3. This is a problem where I have a variable over the coefficient. So what I could do is I rewrite this. I highly suggest you guys take the time to rewrite this because it'll make it so that you guys can at least complete this, doing it one time, where you don't have to redo this lesson over and over. If you guys are efficient and thorough showing your work on a separate piece of paper, you're going to have it. You're going to have this completed in no time. So 1/3 j, and it equals 4.5. Okay? So this is, again, similar to what we just did. It's a fraction. Anytime I have a fraction that is a coefficient, if the coefficient, the number next to the variable, that means I have to flip it because I want to move it over to the other side of the equation. I want to move this over here. The only way to do that is by flipping that fraction. So it's going to be 3/1. And whenever we flip the fraction, we're going to multiply. Okay, this is what we do with fractions. Now, if I have a whole number, it's done differently. You guys should remember how to do the whole number. We spent a lot of time doing that. But with fractions, I know that was something that was particularly struggle at times, confusing for you guys. When you have a fraction, just flip it and multiply on the other side. Flip it, 3/1, multiply it by 4.5. So I'll do 4.5 times 3, 13.5. Enter it in, like I said, do our one step. There we go, and we're done. All right, one more here. These are really the only two types of problems. You're gonna have the fractions. So if you can follow those steps with the fractions, you're gonna be good. Here I have another one-step problem, but this time it's not a fraction. If you look carefully, my coefficient is a whole number. Coefficient, again, number next to the variable. So I'm gonna rewrite it over here just to make it bigger. 4c equals 3. Now, again, always start with the variable side. We want this c. This c right here needs to be by itself. We want to isolate it. The only way we can isolate this, and because it's a whole number, instead of flipping and multiply, we do that step with fractions. When I have a whole number, you just divide. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Now, with Khan Academy, you can either enter this in a couple ways. You could do 3 divided by 4, and you're going to get a decimal, 0.75. Or what you can do, and this gets crossed out because 4/4 is 1. So now c is by itself. So I say c equals 3/4. Or you could just go ahead and type in 3/4. And that's all you have to do. All right, it might be easier if you guys want, just make it a decimal. But in case the decimal doesn't come out evenly, you can always just write it as the fraction. And as long as it's simplified, Khan Academy will accept it. Okay, so you will have some notes on this as well. Please take a look at this video, and if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you throughout this week, and let me know if you need anything. Thanks again.